You are now booted up and online. We are now in control of your primary operating system. You have chosen the AutoExec.Bat podcast. This show is a fan tribute to AMC's Halt and Catch Fire TV show. Not listening is an illegal operation and will result in a program process error.
Shall we play a game?
Welcome everybody, and this is AutoExec.Bat. My name is Dave, and what you may not know is we are recording slightly behind the times right now than when we had scheduled, but that's just because I had to take some time to copyright everything. I wanted to make sure that, we were not going to be, we spent all this great time coding. We didn't want to lose any of our stuff. So I was copywriting the podcast before we started recording. I hope you guys don't mind.
But Dave, open source is how we've learned how to podcast.
We're Mutiny. Copyright. We don't do that.
Yes.
Copyright, schmoppyright.
Exactly.
So on the show today, we've got Matt.
Greetings.
And Jesse.
Hello. So
we're obviously talking about Halt and Catch Fire. We're talking about episode Limbo.
This was a weird episode to talk about, and I really am looking forward to hearing you two's opinions of where we are kind of in our journey with these characters.
So Limbo wasn't a strong episode for you? Is that what you're saying?
As you know, Dave and Matt, I tend to ramble a little bit, but let me real quickly, back in the, I guess, 90s, there was a show called 30-something, and the two main characters, Michael and the Timothy Busfield character, were losing their agency, and they were out of money. And at the end of the episode, I looked over at my wife and I said, I feel like I'm unemployed. I feel like I'm going to lose my job, and I've been at my job 7 years, and it's, as solid as I've ever been. This episode made me feel crazy. It really just, nothing is going well for anyone, and it's such a bad place for our characters that I want to rate the episode poorly because I don't like what's happening. But if they can make me feel that way, then maybe they're doing their job and it's a good episode. Does that make sense?
It does, because, they're playing, the drama card, of course, because, that's what the show is.
Yeah.
But it can't be, all, rose gardens, because, then it would be, a whole different show entirely.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. If you were to, jumping forward in the episode, and sorry for spoilers, but, there was kind of a evolution of Cameron's character where she kind of started to understand a bit more about what Community was doing.
Yeah, and that was a nice scene, but they give you this really great scene with Cameron and Donna, and they're excited, and then the rug is pulled out from under them. And it just, you're like, what? And it seems unfair, it seems unjust, and it's horrible, right?
Did it catch you by surprise? Is that what you're saying?
It did.
You didn't catch up on after she started talking about the copyright?
No, I did not see that coming whatsoever.
Oh, I saw it coming in the episode, and I was mad at myself for not realizing that was what Jacob was going to do. I should have seen it episodes ago, that's what Jacob was going to do. I always knew that James Cromwell was the ultimate bad guy in the season. I had a feeling he was the bad guy, and it just played out this episode.
I knew something was going on with Jesse. What a horrible name, Jesse. And the way that they're like, we'll see ya. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Yep. Okay. Nope. We're good. And I knew something was going on, but I was totally shocked by this. I did not see that coming at all.
I really was surprised that, Joe was getting played, in essence, by Jacob this whole time. Because, Jacob it didn't seem like he was, I don't know, for some reason it didn't feel like he was kind of as engaged, but as soon as he started looking at things, and it played out like that scene where Cameron was showing Community to him, that, maybe that's when the idea started hatching that, this is what we should be going after and not just games.
Yeah, and I really think that he was okay, if they had let him, if he was willing to buy it. But when they weren't, he's like, I'm used to, doing what I need to do, and if I did something wrong, my attorneys will get it out.
Right.
Will get me out of it.
Yeah, and I think that Jacob actually saw something in Joe that Joe to Jacob, or vice versa, that he saw a part of himself in Joe. And then ultimately, Jacob was kind of disappointed that Joe turned out that he wasn't like Jacob anymore. They actually had reformed himself.
Yeah.
So that's why he kind of shut him out of everything.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob was just really summarily dismissing Joe from everything. Just kind of like, no, we'll cover it. Don't worry about it. We got it handled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hit the bricks, bud.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing. Now here's a car. Take the car.
No. Here's your consolation prize.
Yeah. But he doesn't get to keep the car. He just, unlike Joe giving his son the car, this is just, you can borrow it. Pristine. Go enjoy your honeymoon.
Now, how do you guys feel about that? And this is jumping off track of what we were just talking about, but Gordon's vision of the woman he cheated with.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with him. I don't know what it is.
I mean, it seemed interesting that, that the writers of the show, that they threw that in there as him, being awakened by that image.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really dislike, I think it's too much. I'm okay with the whole mutiny thing, and I understand that, and that's drama. But this Gordon thing is it's uncomfortable and for me, and it's just a little too dark. And maybe because they're not executing it well. I think this actor has really had not much to play this season. And him having visions and being paranoid, it just seems, I don't know if it's unnecessary, but I'm not enjoying that part of the story.
Well, that paranoid and vision stuff, that's going all the way back to the first season. So he's been doing that the entire time. This is nothing new. It's just amplified now.
So, I mean, Jesse, what bugs you? Is it the storyline of him, having this fatal disease, or are we talking about where he cheated, or was it a combination of both?
I think and I'm not a writer, I just play one on the podcast. No. I think they could be more subtle. I think this show is better than this. Like having the problem with, he said, hey, this is a return. It wasn't done right. And he's like, hey, who guys? And you look and you see he's the one that did it. I think that would push the point that he's still having problems. I'm even okay with the vision of, kind of the nightmare, but I don't think they needed him to break into his friend's garage and get arrested. I don't think he needed to, for the people to quit, because they're not supporting him. I mean, Gordon's giving them their salary, so they say, I just thought it was a little too much altogether, and maybe that's why. I don't want to watch someone getting kicked between the legs over and over again. And it was a little bit's okay, but after a while, it's like, man, there's nothing good happening in this thing.
Well, I'm with you. The compilation of everything that seems to be happening to him is too much, and but the paranoid Gordon, I like that part of it. I like the, oh, they're stealing my idea, or they're putting this company together without me, and doing it on their own, and I'm fine with that. That's actually exciting to me, and of course when he was breaking in, I knew, right away that, that was just him being over the top paranoid. And then we started blaming Donna when he's getting arrested. That works for me. But, does he really need to be, having having brain damage at the same time, on top of everything else? That might be too much for me.
Well, I think without the brain damage, then he's just crazy.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with that. just have a crazy scooping canary running around. I'm good with that. Everybody's stealing my idea. I'm trying to be an original, and it's okay for it just to be the off the wall, crazy, everybody's stealing my idea, paranoid character. In my book,
I actually enjoyed the Gordon storyline in this episode better than the other storylines.
Oh, interesting.
Because I could see all the other storylines going the way they were going, and when the episode started, I knew where it was going all along. But then the Gordon, I mean, I could see where it was going, but I was appreciative that they got to the point where everything fell apart, and now maybe he can get the help that he needs. At least that's.
But there's nothing he can do, right? I mean, that's.
No, there's nothing he can do, but now everybody knows.
Okay.
That there's something wrong with him. Before, they're all kind of like, is there something wrong with him? There's nothing really wrong with him, is there? Now they realize that, yeah, there's something wrong with him.
Exactly. It's not around the, conjecture or guessing. It's in your face now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to bring up the fact of when they're getting ready for the Mutiny user picnic get-together. This plays into exactly what I've been talking about the Cameron character all along. If you watch that scene, you see Donna. She's getting very visibly excited about the idea of having all these people come and, have this get together. Whereas Cameron loathes it. She hates it. And, as I've been saying all along, she's the techie person, and that's not her cup of tea. And it kind of goes, it amplifies a little bit later in that, in those scenes when that girl comes up to her and starts hugging her. You could tell at first it was a very awkward, uncomfortable moment for her, and, it kind of plays into what I've been, not prophesizing, but the way I've been talking about Cameron's character, about the way she's going to be a techie person and not be comfortable with the social aspects of people.
I also have a little bit of problem, and this is a small thing, is Donna should get that, and it seems like, and maybe that tells you why Cameron isn't good with people, is Cameron should have enough self-awareness to say, look, I'm not good at this, you are, Donna, you do this. You be this outgoing, you be the face of this, and that will, because that's what you can excel at.
Right.
I really loved, we've already talked about this a little bit, but it was really cool for Cameron to admit, I haven't wanted to do this because I didn't want to have to admit that games is not where we're doing this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So.
She also said it's like 100 awkward first dates all at once.
Yes.
I thought that was priceless.
Yeah.
And I love the scenes with her and Tom, and her admitting that she loves him, which is probably, she doesn't love him, I don't think.
And that's actually something I was going to ask about. Do you guys think that she couldn't say that back to Tom because it's awkward for her to say that kind of thing to another person, or because she's got feelings for Joe?
Matt, I'll let you take it first, then I'll share.
I don't think she has feelings for Joe, but I think she's still too broken up about the way she was treated by Joe to let anybody in. And I don't think she will let anybody in, and really don't think she's going to let Tom in, because I think she's still, some deep part of her still feels guilty, because she could have gave him a better life, and she took it for herself. Basically said, screw you.
Wow. Great answer.
Yeah, I don't think she has even given a second thought to the mutiny thing. She may now that, they ended up not having her company and not having, $5 million. I think this is just purely she's uncomfortable talking about these kind of things. So I think she does care about him. I don't know if she loves him. I don't know if she loves anyone, right? That because of all the things going on. I think she was really impressed and pleased that he said that to her. But then that also, I think, makes her uncomfortable because, well, what am I supposed to do now? Where does this put me? Because she's going to overthink it.
Well, I keep going back to where season 2 began, and we had that scene where her and Joe were, together, and playing like a video game together before he went off. And I keep thinking about that. And so, I believe that there was something more that happened there with them. And I believe that there was, some strong feelings that she probably has for him. But at the same time, this is, midpoint of the episode. Obviously, that's going to change as the episode progresses, because of what, ultimately happens with Mutiny and, Westnet.
Yeah. And my point with Cameron is that she's shown zero interest in what anybody thinks at all, except for John. Seems like the only person she'll listen to is John, and that's marginal at best.
So what was the what did you guys think about that slow-mo thing, that when the big picture guy was talking and then Joe was just kind of zoning out? Do you guys remember that scene?
Yeah, that was the mechanism in Joe's mind, trying to get himself back into the game and try and figure out what the hell's going on, because he knew something was off. Deep down, he knew something was off, but he couldn't quite pick apart what they were saying, and he wanted to get in there and try and figure out what game they were playing.
Yeah, he was playing you're right. He was probably playing catch up in his mind as to how come I didn't see that coming, or what's their angle or something like that. Yeah, because at that point he was kind of lost. He was trying to catch up, and he really didn't catch up to them.
And he didn't want to let in that he didn't know what was going on, but trying to stay ahead of the game. But he was obviously far behind what was going on.
Yeah, I assume a Flim Flam man doesn't want to be caught and not being caught up with what's going on when he's being scammed.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just a really odd place that we found ourselves, right? And I love the scene where, Joe's trying to say, I had nothing to do with this. And no one believes him. No one cares, and I did think that was interesting, because what does it matter if you had anything to do with it or not? We're effed. And, so I don't care who did it to us. Unless you can fix this, let's move on.
Yeah, I don't even know if they'll let him try and help him fix it either. Because they've been lied to so many times by Joe. It's sad now. But, Joe is actually reformed. He's actually caring about his supposed friends, even though they don't seem to care about him.
I think this episode did it for me, where I actually don't feel like Joe's being the player anymore. And I actually, believe in the heartfelt Joe now. The guy with the feelings versus the, just the guy looking for the right angle. So I think this episode did it for me, where I turned the corner and said, okay, this is the Joe that, well, Matt, you've been saying all along, that he's not, there's a little more depth to him, and I this one did it for me. This episode did it for me for that.
I think Jesse actually brought it up first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that he's really, I mean, he got married. He went on a honeymoon. He's moving to California. No good deed goes unpunished. I think he was really trying to help Mutiny originally with the network, and he also thought it would be good. He actually thought it was a good deal. We hire, they'll all get money, and then we can really help them grow. And it did not work out that way.
Well, and here's the reason why, Jesse, I didn't give you enough credit for that, is because, and I'm going to pick on you with this, quasi compliment. You're the optimist of the group.
I am.
You're the one that's looking for the greater good in people, and Matt, you're the one that's kind of looking at things from a little, I don't want to say a darker angle, but
I say it's a darker angle.
But so for you were much earlier on in the season. You were like, no, Joe's changed, and this is a different character, and Lee Pace is more portraying this so much better than the season 1 Joe. And for if you go back and listen to the earlier season 2 podcasts, I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I kept waiting for something to happen where Joe was like the player. But now I understand he's being played.
Yep.
And I feel for him.
Yeah, the old thing, don't bull a bull-esser. This is interesting to see him being outplayed. And, we've got, I guess, 3 episodes left?
Oh, actually 2.
2. So, man, I just not sure what's going to go on.
We obviously need a season 3, so hashtag save HCF.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
John, when he's showing his son around, he says, they may not look like much, but these kids are brilliant. I thought that was another fantastic line, obviously giving credit to the programmers of Mutiny.
Yeah, and, his son is, hey, look, Dad, I know these people, I know it's a step down. You were a VP. Let's get you with a real company. And of course, this is before the bottom falls out. But, John is thinking this is a real company. I'm making a difference. And I think, to get a little bit serious for a moment, being significant, making a difference, being contributing is a big thing that leads to people being either satisfied or the lack of that being unsatisfied at work. And John loves working with these kids, and he thinks he's helping Cameron, he's helping Donna, he's helping them. He's making a difference, and that is important to him.
Yeah, actually, the whole thing where he was saving their higher the customers that have been playing the longest. That couldn't have been played out any better. And at that point, I'm sure it was very self-fulfilling for him. And I'm sure that as his son's telling him this, and he's like, "There, son, you just don't understand."
Yeah.
Because I'm right where I need to be. At least that's what I think John's got to be thinking. And being, the John fan that I believe we all are, we'd like to believe that's what that's what he believes in his heart of hearts. He's right where he needs to be.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I agree.
So how do you guys feel about Admiral Eyebrows taking drugs?
It didn't surprise me. I can't remember if they took drugs in the first season. I don't think they did take drugs, but they mentioned it.
Yeah.
I always worry about that. Not just in real life, but on TV shows, because, it usually turns out to be bad things. I guess I was scarred too much as a child in the early 60s, that you took bad LSD, and therefore you could get bad trips the rest of your life and you never get over it. So, I worry. I wasn't sure when they were in the, I guess, VIP part of the club, how much of the fooling around was, actually happening. Was it a dream sequence? She obviously is okay with however we want to interact, right? That would have been it. Go ahead.
Because Joe, a couple episodes ago, said that he could only be real with two people, and one of them was Cameron and the other one was Sarah.
Yeah. Wouldn't mind if this was on Stars. I will admit that. So there, I'll throw that out there. But very interesting. And
so you're saying it didn't go far enough?
Yes,
that's what I heard.
I don't understand this desire. I want to say goodbye. Goodbye means let's go blank at your father's computer room.
Yeah, but I see people, messed up and high on drugs. I could see people doing that. So that was believable. And it just compounded the fact that he raced over to Mutiny and he's probably all whacked out and it's like, this crazy man just came in and said, it's not my fault.
Well, backing up a scene, when they're in the club, as soon as he started kissing the dude, the first thing I was thinking of, that's exactly what Matt said on the podcast. He's bisexual, so that wasn't a big surprise for me, but I don't know if it was a shocking moment for any of our listeners. But I just found that, of course he's going to kiss the dude.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I was so happy because I actually thought, see, Matt just reminded us. So we shouldn't be surprised at all during the orgy scene that, that not only do we have a little female on female action, of course you'd have male on male action.
Yeah.
So well done.
But yeah, going forward to the scene, where he's, they're in the computer room and all that, and he obviously sobers up really quick. You're sobered up mentally because you're understanding how you got played and what what's going on in front of you with that other room where they're launching. It was WestNet, wasn't it? Isn't that what they called it?
It was called WestNet.
Yeah. So, and then suddenly he realized how he's been getting played. And so, I'm sure that was a mentally sobering moment, but you can't physically turn yourself around at that point, So when you're walking in the Mutiny, you're going to look like you had the bender with the drugs and, being a crazy madman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, poor Joe. Just had a nice night, and then suddenly everything came crashing down.
Yeah, he got, he's married, he's had a good honeymoon, they're going to go celebrate, they probably got bottle service, they're in the VIP, got to watch his hot wife make out with a hot, dancer, and, the club, they're all enjoying, and then everything goes crashed.
And they're trying to screw over her dad at the same time.
Yes.
By going to his work.
So now, how do you guys feel about Gordon blaming Donna when he was getting arrested?
I don't think that he meant to blame Donna. It's just that his brain's not working right, and it's obvious. So I think he still cares deeply for Donna.
Yeah, and he's, this paranoia that, she told him to watch out on me. Why did she break this confidence? Why is she, he isn't... sometimes, and not just people with brain damage, one of my favorite stories, and this is not a made-up story, and this happens more than you can imagine, is you give an annual review to someone, and you say, Matt can be a little sensitive and doesn't take constructive criticism well. And I'm sharing that, and Matt goes, what do you mean? And it's like, okay, dude, you're just proving my point, right? So, he's like, how dare you say they need to be watched? I'm fine. by you complaining about this, it just shows you need to be watched.
You make an excellent point, and being a a manager in my real life world, I've had those kind of conversations, so I know exactly where you're coming from, Jesse.
It's always amazing. You're like, should I just tape this conversation and play it back to you?
It's like, how do you not see what I see?
Yes, exactly. I did love seeing John kind of showing off to his son, because
he's proud.
He is proud, and I love that you kind of imply that they've started rebuilding their relationship. And I'm really happy that is happening.
I want all good for John.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I don't want any of the. He's already had enough drama with season 1, so yes. Season 2, let him have a nice clean ride and everything going his way as much as possible. Even though he's kind of on the Titanic, arranging the, he's arranging the shuffleboard game or something like that on the Titanic at this point. But
yeah.
All right. So there's probably a lot here that we didn't cover. What am I missing?
Matt's already talked about it, and I did not catch it. But this whole debate on, do you lock down your code, do you protect it, or you just believe in open source, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's really interesting that, this truly is a good example of locking the barn after the horse has been stolen. And Tom is like, no, this is, remember? So I think that's, what do you guys feel about that? I mean, obviously in this case, right, they should have done this, but what do you think?
I definitely agree with the premise of, doing the copyright protection. I'm, by nature of my position in the corporate world, I'm an advocate of making sure you've got the proper processes in place to make sure you're secure. So of course I'm going to be an advocate of doing it, but you're right. It's the horses have all been stolen, and now I'm going to lock the barn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bit, it's too late at this point. That thought process would have came to them, months ago. Then, yeah, I understood, if it was, a dialogue between her and Tom, around whether to do it or whether not. And of course, I would have been an advocate of doing it.
I'm always paranoid because it's so easy to have someone, take your ideas. And so now then afterwards, it's just so clear. And that's why I admire you, Matt, that you were like, oh, well, I see where this is going. Because, I didn't. And I'm just like, and we should have known he's an oil baron. He's an oil executive. Of course he's evil.
Yeah, no. I mean, that was always nagging at me. Like, why is now his name escaped me. But why is this actor Jacob? But the actors, because I didn't think he had anything to do all season. I was like, is he just the foil for the marriage? Like, what is going on? Why is he here? It didn't make any sense to me. And I always knew that he was going to be the bad guy. And it didn't occur to me until this episode. I'm like, of course they're going to steal it. And I should have spotted that, months ago when Cameron was talking about what mutiny was. And I didn't catch up on that somebody could just come in and steal it. Tom hacked her game and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, why couldn't somebody just steal the damn thing? And I'm sort of kicking myself for not realizing that.
So you don't like being scammed either?
No.
And the show got you.
Yeah, the show got me.
No, I didn't see it coming
fine.
either. I didn't see it coming either, and I thought that was a great play, though. I love the roller coaster ride that this show is doing for us.
Yeah.
So I want to go back just a moment, and there was actually a tweet about the scene where Joe was in the server room where he's realizing what's happening. And at Bailey's suite, she's one of the people that takes care of the s2e8.blogspot.com. She says, I honestly don't think Lee could do any better as an actor in that scene. He went from euphoria to shit got real in 2 seconds flat.
Yeah.
It was a complete roller coaster ride emotionally on all fronts with Joe/Cam, Tom/Cam, and especially with Jacob/Joe. So she's got some interesting points there, what she's bringing up there. And Lee Pace actually, did an awesome job of playing those scenes.
Yeah, Lee Pace has been excellent this season. This season he's really shined, and so I'm really impressed. And I'm sure he won't get an Emmy nomination since it's a low-rated show, but it's really a crime when these low-rated shows don't get recognized.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Absolutely. I Brandon Hart, right, at Top 10 Gamer, also sent a tweet out. Limbo was an amazing episode, but can we rename it to blank hits the fan?
That would be an excellent name.
Yes.
I honestly think it really is Limbo, though, because you're kind of, the entire episode is like, everything okay? Like something's not right. What's going on? You don't know where to go, high or low. And suddenly everything goes low.
I think it's a great scene where, Donna's looking at Cameron, what's our next step? What's our next step? What's our next step? And she's like, I don't know. Why are you looking at me? Things are in limbo, and I have no idea what to do.
Because everything looks kosher. I mean, Gordon's company's starting to take off. Mutinies looks like it has users using Community, so obviously people are paying to use Community. Joe's happily married, even though something's going on they can't picture, but then suddenly, everything's right, and you're kind of stasis right there in the middle, and then everything comes out.
Yeah. But that was very powerful end scene. I absolutely love that. Where exactly like you said, Jesse. Where what do we do now? What do we do now? And then that was it. Show Cameron's face, fade to black.
Yeah.
Perfect way to end that. Like, where do they go now? They've got 2 episodes. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know where they can go after this. They just stole all their users, so I don't even know.
Yeah, and I thought that was great, because I would be one of those users. Well, everything's the same. I'm still talking to the people I normally talk to. They wouldn't even realize it. You're exactly.
just like, oh, okay, and name's different. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my friend's still there. Fine, let's go. Oh, I can't play chess anymore, or backgammon, or
right.
That game was.
Yeah, actually, to backtrack us again, and I'm sorry to do that, but you just reminded me, there was a scene where all of a sudden Cameron was embracing the concepts of how to redesign Community.
Yeah.
It sounded kind of exciting, and, I don't know, kind of AOL-ish, if you will.
Well, that's basically what they're starting, is basically the internet.
Right.
Just how you can connect with people that are in the same people just like you, even though, you can't talk to your neighbor because they look down on you, but you found somebody online that you can talk to.
Yeah, but Cameron was like coming up with the idea of, having like a map and store instead of like, just room names and things like that. So, more graphically user friendly.
Yeah.
So it sounded really cool.
Yeah, it was, and it's going to be interesting to see how they resolve this and what's going on. I have to tell you, the season has not gone the way we thought it was. When we were, and it has some, but we were talking about getting the game back together early. It has not gone that way that we thought it would, did it?
No. No, we were way off on the way we were calling the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and, once again, the TV dramas, do you really want them to be predictable?
No, not at
No.
all.
No, and that was what surprised me this season. Was it was going so well and it was predictable all along, and then suddenly it switched the episode before, and now we know what's going on.
Good for
And
you.
I'm wondering if Gordon hasn't put in a back door to his little server farm.
Ooh, I would like that twist.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, and then maybe, because he's already done one virus.
Yeah, he's
And
already
so-
done one virus to bring it down, so obviously
Uh-huh.
he can bring it down again.
Mhm. Yeah, ooh, I like that. Now I feel better. You've made me happy. Thank you.
Yeah, Gordon, the password's Joshua.
Yes.
Password. It's just password.
It's something that I wanted to throw out there as we seem to be winding down. Rachel Brown at Rachel Oloretta. She says, big thanks again to 80s Reboot team, Dave, Jesse, and Matt for supporting and plugging our fan campaign at #SaveHCF. So, I mean, these guys are doing just a wonderful job of maintaining a blog and a fan campaign. So if you guys have not, if anybody's listening hasn't checked it out, go to savehcf.blogspot.com. Check out what they're doing. They want everybody to send some fan letters to make sure that we get a season 3. I cannot encourage you enough to do that, but of course the important thing is watch as often as possible. So please do that.
Absolutely.
So any parting thoughts on episode Limbo before we start giving our grades?
I honestly, I was not enthralled with this episode at the beginning, but talking with you guys, I've changed my rating slightly.
Oh, really? Wow.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to give this a pretty low rating, and after talking to you guys, I feel better. So thank you. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Matt, for being a Halt and Catch Fire Season 2 support group for me.
Oh, wow. Honestly, my opinion has still been pretty strong about this episode, so I'm interested to see where you guys are at. So, Jesse, start us off. What's your grade?
I was going to give this 5 California honeymoons, but instead I'm going to give it 7 user picnics, and I would still put it more... Can I do a byte and a half? I don't know if I want to do a full megabyte, but
Well, just to remind you, byte's the low one.
Yes.
Kilobyte being the next one up, and then megabyte.
Yeah, so it just barely makes a kilobyte.
Wow. So that's still pretty low.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, I was going to give it a byte, but after talking to you guys, I moved it up to kilobyte.
All right. So where are you at, Matt?
I was leaning towards kilobyte myself. I thought it was kind of, moving all the pieces around, but after talking with you guys and realizing how much drama there was going on and how good the acting was, I'm a strong megabyte now, and actually it would probably rate it at about a 8 MDMAs.
Just for the drama factor, and I loved, I continue to see the Cameron character. I mean, still my favorite, and I love to see the evolution of her changing gears and kind of realizing, that she was taking the wrong path with what she, believed in with the games being the focus. You could tell she's like very dejected when she asked everybody how many people, play the games, and there was only a few. But then, she realizes, what community is. And the way that was played out, the way you could tell that she, isn't as people strong, and she doesn't want to give this speech. So, for me, this is a megabyte, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And my low rating was probably all on me not being mad at myself for not seeing that they were going to steal Mutiny to begin with.
and also not seeing that hook, right?
Yeah,
that's another good
not
reason.
seeing it. It's like was sitting right in front of me the entire time. I was like, what? How did I not see that?
Yeah, and I think mine is just too depressing, and I do think that it's the Gordon storyline is I just don't know if it's needed, and they could do it a better way. So that's kind of why, I'm giving it I originally was going to give it a very bad rating, but thanks to the support group and seeing things a different way, it's much better.
Well, I'm
And
glad that we were able to help you out, man. We're here
Thanks.
for you.
I
Hugs all
appreciate
around.
it.
And a
Thanks.
great shout out to the writers this season for including Cameron and Donna more this season than the first season, because they were kind of minor characters, I think, in the first season.
Yes.
And they really pushed them forward this season. I thought that was exactly what the show needed.
Yeah, they definitely play into the very strong woman roles that they needed for season 2, and they're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
Jesse, where can people find you?
So you can find me at Jesse Jackson DFW. I am heard on a few other podcasts, including the past couple weeks on 80s Reboot, and I appreciate you letting me hang out there. Next stop everywhere is the Doctor Who podcast, and we are counting down the days to new Doctor Who, but in the meantime, we're doing rewatches of old, both classic and modern episodes, and we're having guest stars join us and talk about it. Thanks.
I gotta ask Jesse. I mean,
Yeah.
I've not been a Doctor Who. I'm not a Whovian at all.
Okay.
Every season, do we get a new Doctor Who?
So I'm going to tell you
No.
the same thing I told my nephew. We
No.
were on 4th of July. Yes.
Oh.
No, the answer's no. But my nephew Dan came to me and said, "So, Uncle Jesse, if I wanted to start watching Doctor Who, how would I start?" And I said, "Dan, if you're just being polite to your Uncle Jesse, let's move on. But if you really want to know, we can talk." So, the quick answer is no. They change it routinely, but if you want to come on the show, Charles and I'd love to have a new Whovian, and we kind of talk about it to you.
Well, I've only had the pleasure of watching one season, but maybe that's a better for getting being a guest star on that one. So
Yeah, I'd love that. Okay, we'll make that happen.
So which Doctor did you watch?
And everybody's going to hate me because I don't know the actor's name, but I know he was the bad guy in Gone in 60 Seconds.
As I pull up IMDb, and
It's got to be the
See,
first.
and I know everybody that's into Doctor Who can name all the doctors.
It's got to be Christopher.
yeah, I was thinking Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Piper was with him.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the only season that I watched.
Yeah, it's Christopher Eccleston. Okay. Good.
Yeah, that was a dark season Doctor Who.
But yeah, Southgate Media, because they're so really, so many people are into the Doctor Who, that kind of got me interested. So I gave, a season a try just to kind of feel it out.
But you know what would be really fun, Dave, is I should, and I hate to use the word, but assign you an episode and let you watch it and then join us on our show from a brand new Whovian and just say what you liked, what you didn't like, and kind of visit with it.
That'd be kind of really interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be too. Okay, good. We'll make that happen.
All right.
Good.
I recommend David Tennant.
Yeah, I'm thinking about giving him Blink, and just
That's
kind of
a
go
good-
from there. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
So Matt, you're a Whovian also.
yeah. It's
All right.
one of the shows I enjoy watching with my son. I've introduced him to Doctor Who, and he really enjoys it.
Yeah.
He's a Matt Smith fan, and we got a kick out of the 50th anniversary special.
Absolutely. My son watches it every Christmas with me for the past 2 or 3 years. He doesn't watch it normally, but Christmas night, he usually, we've had all day, it's family, and, my wife goes to bed, and he and I sit down and watch it together. So, which is kind of a nice Christmas tradition.
All right, so let's get back to where we were.
Yes.
Matt.
Absolutely.
Matt, where can people find you?
Nowhere. Oh. I'm on Twitter at MattClane73.
Outstanding. And, of course, I'm Dave, and I take care of our 80s Reboot Overdrive podcast for Twitter. So the account on that is just 80s Reboot. And, of course, I encourage you to look at 80sreboot.tumblr.com, and don't forget about our Facebook, which is facebook.com/80sreboot.
See, we should talk about Doctor Who on 80s Reboot. We can talk about the great Peter Davidson.
We could. Absolutely.
So, yeah, there you go. Assign me a 80s Doctor Who episode.
Okay,
the
we
one
might
that
do
stands out the most, and
Okay.
we'll do a crossover.
Okay, what we should do is, have we done sci-fi in the 80s?
No, we have not done a sci-fi 80s reboot
Okay,
session.
so put that on your list because that would be fun.
That would be.
Okay.
We've talked through 80s robots, though.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
All right, well, very good.
Okay.
You guys, it was great talking about Limbo, and I'm so glad that we're able to, through the course of our conversation, change our opinions of the episode, which is really kind of cool and powerful all at the same time.
That's our work is done, and I appreciate it. I'm signing off in a happier place than I was when I signed on. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. And
Thank you.
let's not forget what Jesse likes to say: Control-Alt-Delete.
Absolutely. Bye.
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 We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80s Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80s Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s.